And we're live. Hey, everybody. It's Paulie, the Latino Slant. What's happening? And it's good to see some of my peeps from the Phantom Menace in the chat room already. Oh man. Okay, this is another show first. First of all, this is our fourth live show. Woo!
Yeah, wow.
And this is my first time with three guests. So let's introduce them. Let's go around the horn. Let's start with you, Shmuel.
Yeah, so I'm Shmuel Gonzalez, the founder of the Boyle Heights History Studios Museum and Cultural Center here in Boyle Heights, East Los Angeles, and a historian and community organizer here from the East Side. And here at the studio, we do all kinds of things, including producing music, film, all kinds of different types of things. So we take great interest in the media, especially portrayals, cultural portrayals.
Uh-oh, look out, look out. All right. And the man from the menace.
I guess I'm next.
Yes, sir.
Even though I'm personally Phantom Menace, like my channel is not. My channel is just a trivia game. So I do a trivia game every Sunday here on the YouTubes. Well, it's a trivia board game. Latino Slant was on this past Sunday. It was a lot of fun. He had a lot of faith in himself, and he did some damage.
Yeah. So Kai's trivia game in his channel every Sunday. It is so much fun, guys. It is so much fun. And I made the mistake where I went on at the beginning of the game. I said, I'm going to win. And of course, I came in last. But here's
it was a
the
lot
thing.
of fun, though, man. It was great having you on.
Yeah. You gotta be a good sport in anything you do, any competition, whatever. And the lady that won, she was so great because she was helping me out and not be so far behind. So guys, that trivia is so much fun, guys. So let's before we start, guys, this is amazing for us. This is another first. Besides the guests, we actually have people watching the darn stream. So let's give shout outs to the people in the chat. Cast in the Shadows, Ellen Jacobson, who's a hardcore fan of Menace person, who's become a buddy of mine in the chat rooms. And I love her to death. She's really cool. Then we got Silos. What's up, brother? And then we got Makini. Oh, Makini 90. Makini is like crazy talented. Would you call him animator or drawer?
He's an illustrator.
You see? I get in trouble.
Well, because I'm an animator.
Okay.
So animators make the drawings move, or they make the models move. Makini would be someone who throws down the design first, and then someone else would come in after and build it, and then I would animate it and stuff. But because I'm an animator, stylistically, I'm a lot simpler than he is. He goes way detailed, and like if you watch his videos, his time-lapse videos, they're freaking awesome.
Right.
But is definitely more. Oh yeah, they're dope, and it's cool because you see the pencil work already done, but then he does the ink. You're watching him ink it, and that's when he goes.
Man.
But yeah, so he's definitely more detailed than I am, and I'm a lot simpler in my illustrations.
So I'm just trying to fix my little fan, and I don't know what I'm doing. Of course, I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. So if anyone in the chat has any questions during this time, we're gonna throw it down. Hey, Eric K, the man, Eric K. Huge fan of Menace. He's one of the moderators on Nerderotic, I believe, Gary's channel. So okay, so what the Slant is in general, this channel that I've slowly been creating. I'm taking all my work on my website and putting it up here, where it's just my thoughts on pop culture, entertainment, music, TV shows, movies, anything that has a little Latino connection. I talk about it. Or if it doesn't, I'll still talk about it, like in our comic tag. With Shmuel, we did, oh God, it was so painful, Kai. We watched a whole season of Penny Dreadful, City of Angels on Showtime.
Yeah.
And you talk about garbage and everything from stereotypes to, for me, a lot of virtue signaling, a lot of wasted opportunity. And then you had all these beautiful zoot suit costumes. Anyways, we did that. So we just do a lot of different stuff here in the Slant. Now, what this live show is, the themes will be very different. And I'll try to do this once a week. And I really appreciate everyone's support already. This is really cool. And Kai, it's a big honor. Shmuel, this is like his third time, so he's almost like a co-host.
I love being here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, he's a primo. You like pain, like Gary watching some of these things. You what? Aaron K. Me too. Batman looks pretty great with that. Okay, I don't know what's. Oh! We're talking about Kai's background. I wanted to ask you about that. Give us a little rundown before we actually start our first topic of the evening.
Yeah, I don't know. I straight up found that on the internet years ago. I just found it online somewhere. It was dope. I saved it, and then when I was looking for a background for my green screen, I was just scrolling through all my stuff, and this was the one I picked. I had a few options, and I showed my friends. They're like, "No, the Batman one's the most awesome one." So I stuck with it.
I mean, that thing is sick, dude. That thing is sick. And all my friends that are in the Menace, everyone knows me as Latino Slant. You guys can call me Paulie. And Latino Slant's the channel, but I'm Paulie. So, anyways, I love it. Let's get started. Dude, we're gonna go right to it. We're talking about this whole idea of brown facing. Now, let me see if I can make this happen. Oh, there she is, guys.
Mexican Iron Man, brother.
This is.
You went in straight for the kill.
Yeah. This is actress Jeanette Goldstein from the 1986 movie Aliens, where she played, what was her character? Private First Class Vazquez.
Yes, Vazquez.
I just want to sink this image in because I was 16 and I absolutely fucking loved her performance in this movie. I thought up until I got a little older, I had no idea she wasn't Mexican or Latina. She was so good. Yeah. So
it was a lot more recent for me, actually. It was actually months ago that I figured this out, and just by accident, I had come across an article in which she was someone was interviewing her because they recognized her going into her bra shop. Recognized her, and so that became a discussion, about that. But what's kind of interesting is that she's in Aliens, which is the second of them, probably the more famous of the two movies. And
before you go on, I'm like, we're fancy, man. Look at you say that, and boom.
Yeah.
A huevo.
Yeah. And so it was actually the second of the movies came in with a big budget, well expected, and it really is the enduring movie of the series, that people remember. And she has really one of these great scenes because she not just plays a Latina, but she plays this really butch Latina, and some white guy, real right, hey Vazquez, anyone ever mistaken you for a man? And she's like, no, has anyone ever mistaken you?
Yeah.
So
that was.
And so for the beginning, she's really, she's really one of these, tough characters that is just there with the Outer Space Marines and at the forefront of the Outer Space Marines, and how much more intense can you get than that? But it turns out that she is Russian Jewish with Moroccan background as well. So she's part Ashkenazi, part Sephardic, by way of Brazil. I believe the family history is, and but that kind of comes in funny because number one, you get a lot of that within the media. Like for instance, the most interesting man, the Dos Equis guy, is like another Goldstein guy, and you know what I mean, and so this is very common. But believe it or not, and this is what's going to blow your guys' minds. Do you know this kind of brown facing in sci-fi actually goes all the way back really to the beginning? And I say that is because one of the first really famous, sci-fi movies was when they did a movie adaptation of War of the Worlds. And when they did a movie adaptation of War of the Worlds, it became famous because it was like Independence Day where they blew up all these Los Angeles, icons, including the bridges leading to East LA. But what happens is that in it, you have that people are looking, at the crowd that's forming around the alien ships, and there's actually a Mexican that is portrayed in it. And real early on, as people are starting to around there, he tells the people of the town that they should set up business there, and we can sell hot dogs, enchiladas, and tamales. And the guy who says that line, what's interesting, the guy who totally plays, a full-on paisa in that, is a Canadian-born Jewish guy by the name of Jack Crucian. And he's an Eastern European, he comes from an Eastern European Jewish immigrant family by way of Canada.
Look at you, man. Look at you.
Yeah. And
slinging the knowledge, you historian, you.
So yeah.
So okay, all right. Any thoughts before I want to give a kind of an angle on this whole thing of brown facing. Kai, do you have any initial comments?
What do you mean brown facing? Like someone who's not Latin?
That's a great question. Okay, so I think for this, for our little discussion, brown facing is when you actually alter the actor's skin color on the role. So her skin color, and she even talks about it. They had to tan her and make up her a tone darker. As you can see, again, here's her natural color.
Yeah.
And there she is, and even though she is of ethnic background, not she's not a Vazquez. So just your initial thoughts, because I want to give an angle that I have here. I want to throw something at you.
Let me see if I can screen share real quick on this end, and I'll try to.
Well,
let me see. Go ahead.
I think honestly, we Latinos, we have such a broad range in skin tone that you could be really light, you could be really dark.
Mm-hmm.
Es Latino, eres Latino.
Correct.
Either way, I actually didn't realize, I didn't understand racism until I started trying to figure it out. But I was presented with it like in high school. But I always thought people were joking when they said stuff, because like we joke with each other and we make fun of each other for our differences. But like it's all in good fun. We're family, And so when I realized that people actually had a problem with other people's skin colors, I was like, "Are you serious right now?" Like it didn't make sense to me. So we have such a spectrum that
correct.
Making somebody brown to show that they're Latin is, I feel like even if she was a light-skinned Latina, they'd be like, "Could you get a tan or something though?" Because like people are gonna expect it to be brown.
Well, particularly that role, it's like a butch Chicana, more definitely more of that, Chicano look that you have the bandana and the brown skin.
Yeah, it's definitely not, I guess it's a bit of a stereotype that but it's a believable character in the place where she's, with surrounded by soldiers and stuff. But I don't know. That is the first time I didn't realize that was a thing.
Right.
So
You know
Well,
what I think it's weird?
it's fine. Let's hold that. I want to like read some of these comments,
Oh,
and
okay.
then we'll get right back into it. Mexican Iron Man hailing support from NorCal to the Slant. I'm at work, so I'll listen to the headset. Hail, Mexican Iron Man. Yeah, brother.
yeah, at least they
Eric
make her a
K.
badass, not some like rando stereotype. She's a badass. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. Ella Jacobson said she's a chameleon. Absolutely. Soul Assassin stopping by to say hi. Vazquez is a badass. And so, okay, here's my take. Here's my take on it, guys. My slant. Every actor, and I'm coming from being an actor and and knowing actors. Every actor wants the career that Jeanette Goldstein has had. She's played white. She's played Latina. She's played Irish, and she was an Irish mom in Titanic. She is an incredible, first of all, an incredible actor. Period. And every actor wants to be that blank canvas. All right.
That's
That
true.
being said, that being said, the reason why she got so many great roles is she was in that trough, that crew of actors that James Cameron always used. And God bless him, man. You know, if you could get into that clique of like actors that are always being the same directors, that's how Hollywood works, man. They work with their friends. They work with people that they know.
Yeah,
And
actors should be able to play whoever they want. Cause like, look at, oh, it just went. Tom Hanks. It's the people living. Their spirits are connected through multiple lives, and it tells a story of like way in the future, and then the present time, and etc. in the past. You know what? Let me look it up.
oh, Cloud Atlas.
Cloud Atlas. Yes.
Yeah.
Cloud Atlas.
That's
They all played
correct.
all different nationalities and people,
white played black, black played white. That's a very different film. Now here's the other slant to this, guys. At the time, in the 80s, Latino actors who were Latino couldn't get a decent role to save their fucking lives.
True.
And when I say decent role, that Vazquez is a great role that a Latino actor would have dug their teeth into. At the time, Latino actors are subjugated to co-starring roles, or nannies or landscapers. Like the great Lupe Ontiveros played every nanny and everyone. Selena, you know, the killer Selena. You look her up; she was always in those movies. I cannot. The part of me that upsets me with brown facing is the opportunity, just the opportunity, guys, of an actor who happens to be Latino killing that role. And it still goes on today. It's not as rampant, but for some reason in the 80s and 90s, it was all over the place. And one actor who I love at the time, who I could totally have seen as Vazquez, is, oh, where is she? Is the great Rachel Ticotin. And Rachel Ticotin was in Total Recall with oh, look at her. Woo.
Yeah.
She was in a lot of movies in the 80s, and then she was Schwarzenegger's co-star in Total Recall. I imagine her as Vazquez. Pretty amazing. Puerto Rican actress from the Bronx. So it is what it is, guys.
You know what? If we're talking about representation and Latin representation and whatnot in movies, I want to give a shout out to Batteries Not Included. Have y'all seen that?
Hey.
Oh my God, that's a long time ago now. Yeah, I forgot about that film.
Talk about it, man.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom loves that movie.
Yeah.
And it's great. They did a good job. It hits all different personalities and yeah, it's a great movie. Go watch it if you haven't included. Batteries not included.
You know what? Let's put it in the chat, guys. Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments. I am not a PC guy. I am not, you know, but Hollywood is a great way of not being a level playing field for all actors, and that's okay, right? Then we got to make, there'll be better stories that happen to be Latino stories, whatever, as long as they're good. And we say that in the Phantom Menace, as long as they're good movies. But again, I have nothing against Jeanette Goldstein. I know that this kind of flared up recently because a lot of production companies and studios are going back and messing around with movies, from Gone with the Wind to Back to the Future.
Yeah, as soon as you start getting into historical revisionism, you're on the wrong side of whatever the hell you're doing. Like, that's not cool. You shouldn't be revising history. It goes against the point of keeping history, of keeping track of what happened. To go back and change it and go, no, now this is what happened. That's not good, and it's not cool. So I don't care if it's movies or history books. It's all the same.
Well,
one of the things I think really keeps me going back to a lot of the old movies is because they are really complicated, and I think showing a lot of the classic films to young people today, they're rather shocked. They're rather shocked, sometimes, but it's those are the type of messaging that has been really part of what has steered the American mind, and internationally, as media goes on internationally for the last century. And so I think what's really important for us to keep in mind, though, is that there are plenty of Latino actors though out there that are putting themselves out there every day, and we need to really start looking if there is an opportunity when we have Latino people in in the script and everything, if we can actually get people to to actually step into those roles and represent, because I think a lot of the problematic representations that we get is because someone is trying to recreate their estimation of what a Latino person is like, and you can get into a lot of trouble that way, without someone having a personal form of reference in which they can work that role from a personal understanding of the Latino experience.
So our friend Ellen Jacobson is going off in the chat, and she bringing some interesting comments. Literally, no one ever talks about Latinos when they talk about inclusivity. There are way more Latinos than people with African descent. Why don't they want more Latin representation? Oh, what a can of worms! That's a can of worms.
You know what? I thought about this though, because we don't make a fuss. We don't make a fuss. We just do what we do, and then we keep doing it, and we don't care if people notice. We're like, I'm doing me, and we do it. That's the generally that's the Latin attitude. So when people are all inclusivity and representation, and the Latinos over here on the side working,
That's a long-standing joke. That's a long-standing joke. Is where are the Latinos at the protest? They're waiting for you to finish up so they can clean the damn streets.
You got quiet there.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
What's unfortunate though is that oftentimes within the media with the visible Latino people that we know, is that it's up until really recently, Latino people in the media did not represent themselves as Latino. I mean, my God, I mean Montalban, for the longest time, it was until the 80s, mid 80s, before he started really, starting to show any real level of self-pride. And, it's...
Sorry, Kai, we're cutting off your face. Montalban's chest is in Kai's face.
No, I mean this guy was for giving visibility for Latino people, he was really the most positioned. Coming from a very famous show, on Fantasy Island, was really a major show and stuff like that. And but it wasn't what he was playing necessarily on screen. I think what was really kind of odd is that. In the way that he presented himself as a Hollywood star was for a long time outside of the context of the Latino experience. He was not very comfortable. Well, it was mid '80s to the late '80s before he was really comfortable with doing that. And then he did so in grandiose style, going on Siempre en Domingo and stuff like that. But we don't really get a whole lot of people who have really presented themselves. I mean, we have certain historical dichotomies in Hollywood, certainly. I mean, we have the Anthony Quinns, who kind of assimilate but still represent, are still there, representing Mexican American civil rights and social justice and stuff like this. And then you get people who are doing a little bit more quietly, such as the Rita Hayworths, and who totally assimilates, and just in the background is secretly giving her checks and her agreement to Chicano aims and stuff, but was not ever comfortable really speaking from the position as a Latina. Unlike say her father, who was active here in the neighborhood of Boyle Heights with his dance studios at the Paramount Ballroom and stuff like that.
You're talking about Rita Hayworth?
Yeah, Rita Hayworth. Yeah.
Didn't you say Rita Moreno?
And no, Rita Hayworth. Rita Moreno. That's a whole nother character. That's
a whole nother thing. Fantastic, Eric K. My name is Mr. Rourke. I'm your host, and welcome to Fantasy Island.
Yeah, he was really a charmer.
Let's go on, guys. I want to show this to you guys. And titled Latinos in Space. Yay! Let's pick. Maybe we could go up the list or down the list. I don't know. Someone who sticks out to you guys, and let's chat about that. Let's chat about them. And again, this is more for film, and I know there are some Star Trek crossovers. There are some Star Trek films. Obviously, the great Ricardo Montalban played probably one of the greatest villains of all time, probably top 5, right next to Darth Vader, as Kahn in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Phenomenal role.
Yeah.
Phenomenal role.
Kai, any of those names stick out to you?
Zoe Saldana, she's freaking awesome. I love her. Freaking Jessica Alba too, also dope. And she's from my neck of the woods. We come from the same area. I was watching the live over here, so I could still see.
Oh, you got it? Okay, all right.
But yeah, those two for me stick out the most. Wait. What's his name on there? Captain of Battlestar.
Eddie Olmos.
Yeah, there's Olmos. Yeah. Oh, Michelle Rodriguez. Resident Evil. That's what you credited her with.
I was looking up what sci-fi space and Resident Evil's kind of connected to sci-fi a little bit.
I would have given she was in Lost too.
She was in Lost, yeah.
So she got a DUI.
So in fact, Rachel Ticotin played her mom, right?
I don't know.
Damn, I don't know. Let's hit this list, guys, in the chat. Check this list out one more time. Let me read it down for you guys, okay? I got Ricardo Montalban, Star Trek. Diego Luna from Mexico. He was in Rogue One. Jimmy Smits, he was in a couple of Star Wars movies as Senator Bail Organa. Oscar Isaac, whose last name I believe is Fernandez. Isaac is his middle name. Played Poe Dameron in all the Star Wars, the Disney Star Wars that everyone really loves here at the Phantom Menace. Rachel Ticotin, Total Recall, who we showed you earlier. Zoe Saldana and Michelle Rodriguez, Eddie Olmos, his role in Blade Runner. Oh my God, so cool. TV role, Robert Beltran played Chakotay in Star Trek Next Generation.
What?
Was it Next Generation? Chakotay? No.
Chakotay's Voyager.
Voyager. Thank you guys.
Voyager.
I always thought he was Latin. He was Native American. I was like, oh look, they got a Native American guy finally.
You know what's trippy is that I forgot about the Chakotay role until the other day. I was watching Zoot Suit, and I'm watching Zoot Suit, and I'm realizing that the son who's walking in and taking a seat with his parents in the theater is the guy who plays Chakotay. I'm like, dude, that's Commander Chakotay. That's my first thing out my mouth. That's wild. And I was like, wow, dude, that guy's been, all the way since Zoot Suit the movie, that guy's been, popping in some stuff. But I would like to have seen him more on the silver screen.
I love that when you recognize an actor from a role they did later, you're like, hey, I found Waldo. It's like finding freaking Waldo, man. It's awesome. That happened to me with Lost. My friends were all watching Lost. I wasn't watching Lost, but I was passing through the room and I'm watching what's happening. And the French woman comes out the forest with the gun, and I was like, oh my God, do you guys know who she is? They said, no, we don't know who she is yet. And they're always like, no, God damn it, the actress.
We got in the chat. I mean, that's totally this one I really flubbed up. I believe she's of Cuban descent. The beautiful, really, really beautiful Daphne Zuniga from Spaceballs. Remember her? She played. I forgot the princess. She was the Princess Leia.
The princess. Princess.
Princess what? What was her name? If someone could remember.
The Jewish princess?
I'm remembering. Yeah, the Jewish princess.
The Jewish princess.
Vespa. Yeah.
Vespa.
Princess Vespa.
That's funny. That is. Yeah, funny. She doesn't look Jewish. Exactly. Precisely.
Love that movie.
Yeah,
we love that joke in Boyle Heights. And
because you're Jewish, Shmuel.
Yeah, and so yeah, no, it's. But you know what I'm looking down this list, and I'm really happy about is that what we're getting to see is a lot more people that are stepping in as Afro Latinos, Afro Latinas who are stepping into roles, and that. I say this because, my teenage years, I grew up in Mexico, and Mexican television is the whitest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, it is ridiculous. And no. I mean, seriously, the only reason the only reason I watched the novelas was to get the thrill of watching, Ashkenazi Jewish and Lebanese girls play on novelas. You know what I mean? Because that was you get these really, really light-skinned, people and stuff like that. I'm really, really liking that in a lot more roles, and especially those that are being taken up on like the Netflix series, on the Amazon series. They're choosing to not just show dark-skinned Latinos within this, but they're actually showing Afro-Latinos, and that's really important if you are Cuban, Dominican, Puerto Ricans, Central American, to see Afro-Latinos represented. That is a beautiful thing. And that we show a diversity of what the Latino experience is, and again, I say that as the Jewish Chicano with African roots. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, in my family, my grandma is an Afro-Latina, and my older cousin is light skin with blue eyes. I'm me, you know, in the middle with green eyes. My cousin, if we're going swimming, he starts off looking like me, and then he comes out dark, like really dark after swimming all day. Like
Yeah.
there's so much range. That's why I didn't like. I had issues with racism. I didn't get it, but like,
Sure.
yeah, we can hit the whole. Even within my family, we have the whole spectrum. And if you're more native, I think maybe, I don't know. But I've seen Latinos that look even like they could be Asian, you know, with their eyes or and yeah, man, we're
So-
everything.
No, you're very right about that. And I say this because, you know, growing up in a family that way with all the diversity, and, you know, us as Latinos in this generation are learning to embrace that, especially as a lot of us are starting to, you know, intermarry and learn more about our roots too. We're starting to learn that culture is not about the color of the skin. And I think that's a good thing to remember, because when I grew up, it was horrible. When you grew up in the neighborhood, you're on the block. See, to my grandparents, my great-grandparents, the only thing they ever referred to me is "ay mi güerito," you know? And then I had all
Translate.
these and everything.
Translate,
Your
please.
cousin Jack, your
It's
cousin
my,
translate-
my whitey, right?
Yeah, for our
And
My whitey.
so
for our
they
homies
kind
in the comments, say that again and just try and give a little translation.
Yeah, so you know what we have is that we end up having, you know, in our families, that people kind of point out the differences. So when they talk to their grandkids and they see all these different cultural differences, they see, man, I'm the güerita, the little light one, you know, the little pale one, is literally what it means. And you know, and then, you know, I had the cousin who his nickname was Jack, the cousin whose nickname was Negra. And, you know, you go down the list because we all show the diversity of all of these type of roots, and they, you know, kind of like it skips generations. So we have these rainbows of the way that our kids come out. And before, people used to be, you know, kind of more traumatized about that. I think today, people were, you know, I want the kids in my family to grow up being proud of who they are, no matter what color the bean is.
All right, so we got some more great comments. Let's read some of them from Soul Assassin, my brother from the chats of the Phantom Menace. Latinos come in all different shapes and colors. Eric K, one of my best friends, is Mexican and Greek. We used to go to my friends Martin and Joel to the clubs, and TJ I would be the only blonde in the place. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. Okay. So listen, we all know the diversity within this huge title of being Latino. There's so much that goes underneath it. Now, what I want to shift back to is the false Hollywood liberalism.
Ooh, get it.
That keeps on segregating by misrepresenting people of color in their movies, in their TV shows, to make them feel like they're doing something important. I think they've done the opposite. I think, and I'm going to use Penny Dreadful, City of Angels, as an example, where a very, very talented creator, John Logan, wanted to use the backdrop of the Zoot Suiters and the Chicanos of LA in his Penny Dreadful, and really painted some of the most one-dimensional, downtrodden people, victim, and it's like, dude, you don't know shit about what you're talking about.
And the mob, and mobsters on top of it, and mobsters on top of it.
I see this now happening in Hollywood, and whether it's sci-fi guys, whether it's, you know, whatever genre, is this really, really upside down liberalism. Maybe it's good intention, but this liberal, this outward liberalism thinking of knowing what's right for the minority. And I leave
Yeah.
you with that. What do you guys think?
I think what that leads to is stuff like us losing representation. You know, like what's happening with Aunt Jemima and Trader Jose. You know, or Trader Joe's. All their Mexican items are Trader Jose. I love that, but they're getting rid of it because they're like, oh, I guess this is insensitive, so we're gonna, you know, rebrand the Trader Jose thing.
You're kidding
And
me.
no, that's like Orville Nation tweeted about that. I was
Oh
like,
my
no
God.
freaking way. I love Trader Jose. Trader Joe's.
Mm.
No, I think it's weird
Trader Joe's.
you know what. No, I think I think it's so weird that how people really. I mean, the truth is that Latino people, we are not even a minority. We're not even a minority. As here in most states, we are the majority and plurality. And yet, we aren't really gearing, media that is geared at really reaching people instead of just having tokenism. Instead of just having tokenism, so that people feel represented. I don't know why we aren't doing enough to actually voice stories that are coming from this perspective of Latino people, written by Latino people, because if you want to capture popular culture, then you have to be reflective of what popular culture looks like. The greater problems that we've often had, and I guess the bigger problem I have with neoliberalism is that what we get is a bunch of people who constantly, and for a long time, but still to this day, are instead of really asking the communities what we want, what they're doing is that they're assuming what we want. And that's a big problem, is that when it comes to white writers and casting directors and all of this, and the people who are formulating these representations within the media, there is a big disconnect between perceived need and what we need reflecting us within the media, and what we actually really need. And that's a problem, in that you have people that are assuming from the outside. I say that is because addressing the needs of a Latino community is not the same, for instance, as addressing the needs of African American community or Asian people within the media. There's a different way of going at it for each group of people. We can't just put someone of that right color within that role and just be comfortable that we've done enough.
They're blowing up in the chat. There's some great comments, guys. I really appreciate McKinney, Ellen. We got Soul Assassin, and
highlight them
yeah, I'm learning how to do all this.
then.
Let me read
You gotta get used to the flow.
I'm gonna get used to it. I know. This is like the first time I even have people commenting.
Oh, dope.
Silos says big. Let me just read this. Silos says big props to Issac.
You know what's funny? Oh, hold on. It's funny that people go on about they never really had to think about race until woke people told them. It's because normally we have a lot of people that are constantly asking us to suppress our own culture, to suppress who we are, to suppress what our own personal stories are, to suppress our accents, to suppress the way that we prefer to dress, to suppress the type of music that we would prefer. Basically what people ask for is that we should be happy enough if we are just going to strip ourselves down and homogenize ourselves enough, in order to see ourselves in this make-believe melting pot. And that's a bunch of bullshit. That's an absolute bunch of bullshit. And so, the reality is that what has always made media representations great is that they have chosen to use those medias in order to highlight the cultural storytelling that connects us together as people. The first talking film really did something really, really great. It stood up to what the first Hollywood film had started. The first Hollywood full-length feature film, A Birth of a Nation, aka A Klansman, which popularized white supremacy. That's what the first Hollywood full-length feature film did. You go back and you go to 1927 and you see that the first talking film, which is going to revolutionize film, decides to do it by telling a Jewish story. Decides to tell the oppressed story of Jewish working class immigrant people and where they fit in this growing Jim Crow society that they were now subjected to, living in ghettos up against African Americans, and to show the intersection and to be reflective of the American experience. You know what? To this day within the media, we have a responsibility in order to use the media, in order to represent the American people and the American people that are still struggling to be seen and front and center stage in our society.
Let's go back to Star Wars.
Wait. We never read the comments.
Oh yeah, because Mr. Boy Heights interrupted me.
Yeah.
That was a good point.
Just read this and then immediately interrupted my
No, man. You know what? Well, you guys go ahead and interrupt me. CeeLo said big props to Issac Morales and Maria Conchita Alonso, two of the greatest Latino actors of the 80s and 90s. Fire. Yeah. Issac Morales in what was it? Bad Boys with Sean Penn? La Bamba? Maria Conchita Alonso was great in Moscow on the Hudson. That was a great flick with a great, miss him, Robin Williams. So yeah, and then a lot of going back and forth between Makini and Ellen. My issue with this whole nonsense is that the encouragement of segregation, it's something we see already in comics and creeping into voice acting. So the great Darth Vader has always been voiced by the equally great James Earl Jones. So if in this woke era, we should fire James Earl Jones and we should revoice him with a person that looks like Anakin Skywalker, I guess, and sounds like Anakin Skywalker. I mean, where does it begin and where does it end? What else am I missing here, Kai? Did I get something?
Bikini said something. I appreciate something about what was it?
Well, he just said that one. That was McKinney. Hollywood and leftist ideologies believe that someone like me who's black can't identify with a white character. Oh, that is fantastic. As a little boy, I identified immediately with two people, guys, in the movies. Rocky Balboa, Luke Skywalker.
There it is.
Those are my dudes. Oh, you want to read it?
McInerney said, with the Trader Joe's thing, they're combating racism by basically encouraging segregation. And like that's what all this amounts to, is when they're like, no, only black people can do this, only Latino people can do that, only white people here, etc. Like it's segregation, all of that. Like keeping the Latin out of this brand instead of like intermingling it the way they do with Trader Joe's, for example. We end up losing with stuff like this. We end up losing representation, like with Speedy Gonzalez. They stopped playing Speedy Gonzalez cartoons because people complained about like the racist stereotypes of like the other mice. The other mice are like kind of weird. And so, but that's the point, is that this is what people see, but we're capable of seeing Speedy Gonzalez, who always wins, by the way. And so now we don't get to watch Speedy Gonzalez get one over on Sylvester, or whatever.
Speedy Gonzalez was a very smart cartoon, guys.
Hell yeah.
The thing is that I think a lot of us, there has to be a distinguishing between, you can't talk about the past and talk about the current, because they won't get the same result. Let me give you an example. Again, going back, if you look at a jazz singer, again, the first talking film, it did something that killed the third rendition of it by trying to use blackface. The first film utilizes blackface. Jell Jolson uses blackface. It's a huge central theme into it. By 1981, when you have Neil Diamond trying to use blackface, it no longer works. It no longer. It actually made the film so terrible that he's getting arrested for a bar fight because he's caught being in blackface. In a black club, in a point in history when that's not really,
baby, now
it's kind of out of place.
I haven't seen
that was the song he sang.
It really killed the film. We got that song Coming to America, and that's about it. But it's something
that killed the film.
Now we use the film as film school, comedy. His father just trying to make fun of it.
Listen, Shmuel, the blackface didn't kill the film. It was a shitty film.
No, people don't like
the songs were great. The songs were great.
I agree with
Love
you.
on the Rocks. Ain't no big surprise. Pour me a drink, and I'll tell you some lies. Oh, yeah, shoot. Let's get
it was filmed partially here in the neighborhood, so that's why it's so funny. We had to watch it be filmed, and he was horrible. And then most people don't like us saying that Neil Diamond did a horrible performance. That was really it.
My people are going off in the chat when the character is really good. When the character is really good and compelling and likable, they don't even use their race, sex, or gender as a character trait. That's interesting too. So I would say out of that list, some of the greatest Latinos in space, they really kind of play non-Latino roles. I mean, Ricardo Montalban was Kahn, and he was just he was on another level.
The only time you get Latinos is when it's an international space station type group going out, and you have these multiple groups from different nations that are sent out, and there's always the sexy. There's always the sexy Latino duo, sent from some nation and blah 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 blah. But what I was thinking about this morning is that I was like, are these guys mostly just always like the engineers and these types of things? And I was having to think about it, and the only time I've actually seen kind of a break from that recently was on smaller screen when it came to. Was it the Enterprise series where you had Wilson Cruz play a doctor? In that Star Trek series, he plays a doctor. I was like, oh, dude, a Latino who's not security or an engineer. That's really cool. You know what I mean? And so that was kind of a surpriser to me. I was trying to think of. But there are some of those roles where you occasionally get Latino doctors, or psychologists. Those are also very good roles that they tend to kind of set into very easily.
Well, go ahead, Kai.
I was gonna say I'd rather my Latinos throw machetes at people, but
with zero G.
What the fuck? All right, go.
What you were saying about Latinos playing non-Latin roles, or what both of you touched on, I cracked me up that in Star Trek Voyager, we have exactly that going on. We have a Latino playing a Native American, and we have a Latina playing a Klingon, or a half Klingon. And I'm like, correct. Wow, you're Latin and Klingon? That is a terrible combination. That is, oh my God, that temper. And well, I think she's El Salvadorian too, or something. I don't remember, but damn, screwed.
That's when.
Talk about rage.
Hold on.
Talk about character rage. It's a lot of story. So that explains a lot.
That's kind of the last time that Star Trek was Star Trek, because now it's so it's so woke. It's so
It's trash,
killing
man.
it's trash.
I wish I hadn't watched that first season of Discovery, but I'm glad I did because now I can thoroughly tear it apart when people try to tell me that it doesn't suck.
Is it that bad, really? I haven't watched it yet, so.
Don't watch it. Don't ever.
Don't watch
The Orville instead. The Orville is amazing. It's a fantastic show. It definitely gets put in the second season, but it's a lot of fun.
So I want to go to this comment that Makini said, Makini 90, Oscar Isaac as what could have been a great hotshot Han Solo-like character with Poe Dameron. So, my God.
Those movies are just all wasted potential. All the potential was just sucked out of it.
We're talking about the latest Star Wars movies.
Yeah, Disney Wars. I call them Disney Wars.
Disney Wars?
Yeah.
So basically you had these characters at the end of the day become glorified drug runners, janitors, Asian technicians. And they were just... the day. And wow, I didn't want to go there with Ray. But you have to, when I think what I loved most about the Force Awakens trailer and the rumors that a stormtrooper was going to defect and become a Jedi and he was black. I was like, whoa, that's fucking great. And he is a kind of silly stormtrooper who was a ambiguous slave who was a glorified janitor. Yeah. That's Bad Robot. J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy, the elite liberals of the elite spewing that shit on Star Wars. Okay. Yes.
Eric K. shouted out Desi Arnaz. Yeah, he's not in sci-fi, but good on him.
No. This is the Desi Arnaz. I mean, he basically created, along with Lucille Ball, three camera setup. Okay, you had one in the middle, one on the left, one on the right. That was a sitcom setup. So
they invented that, or they revolutionized that? That's crazy.
They revolutionized TV by creating that.
That's
why it was the Desi Arnaz, Lucille Ball Studios, and that was a Cuban. Yeah, that was a Cuban, and he was also a pretty good musician. But they created that, which probably affected all of the stuff that we love today.
They ended up Lucille Ball, I think. Once after they split, Lucille Ball's production house ended up making Star Trek.
Oh, there you go. One of the greatest shows ever. The first run of Star Trek. I
just saw an opportunity to throw Star Trek into the mix, so I did it.
Yeah. Well, we could do an old school Star Trek review. I know a lot of people do them, but it's always good to maybe take one episode and just tear it up.
You know what's funny is that Gene Roddenberry was a writer for Chief Parker. For the LAPD. And believe it or not, they had met all the way back when he was a traffic cop here in Boyle Heights. And he had always
Wait, back up. Say this again.
So, Chief Parker, the notorious Chief Parker, he had a speechwriter by the name of Gene Roddenberry. Yes, before the whole
Gene Roddenberry, who we love so much.
Was his speechwriter. And whatever was being spoken from LAPD was being written by him. And believe it or not, what we find out early on was that the character of Spock was actually inspired by Chief Parker, the cold, analytical, just being obsessed with logic. That cold Spock character was taken from Chief Parker. That he had met all the way back here as a traffic cop in Boyle Heights, and Yeah.
So. Once again, guys, Shmuel is an LA historian. He's got a Boyle Heights history tour and studio in East LA. I've been on some of these walking tours. They range from haunted tours to the Zoot Suit riots. I mean, Shmuel is a walking historical treasure, guys. Please look him up. Please support him. So tell me a little bit about Gene Roddenberry's background. What can you tell everybody about that we wouldn't know?
Oh yeah, no, and I thought that was just kind of just kind of very interesting because one of the last things that I really would have expected is you kind of think of who went into screenwriting, and it was just kind of an oddball thing that early on in his career he took jobs for the city, specifically just speech writing. And that was the thing is that Chief Parker was kind of this character that he had watched, who had become police chief of Los Angeles, who kind of made his name being very popular with thinking he could control all of crime in Los Angeles if he could just control the mechanism of traffic. And because Parker was a traffic cop. And so what happens is that, when Parker went to be chief of police, he brought Roddenberry on with him because he needed someone that could communicate, where Chief Parker just didn't have the personality skills. He really was just that cold and calculated, like a Spot character, that you just couldn't let him speak to people, unscripted. So yeah, that's funny that we have one of the most entertaining screenwriters in all time that was screenwriting.
One of the fathers of modern science fiction.
Modern science fiction.
He would be rolling in his grave right now when they see the garbage that CBS is doing with Star Trek now. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, guys.
He's raising a ruckus.
Oh yeah, no, I think what was so amazing about Star Trek was that you got not just a diversity of characters. I mean, think we're in the Cold War, you have a Russian character, you have African American women, but you also got some real unique cases in which you got in the first interracial kisses and stuff like this that got right there, put on.
You're talking about Shatner and a green woman, or Shatner and a.
Exactly. No, I mean that's really I think that's what kind of helped too is that in that time in which they're really they're in the throes of the civil rights movement, that you could kind of abstract with green people. And stuff like that, I think kind of made it easier for people to, understand, overcoming the racial issues. If you abstracted it really came in a very, very unique time. Today, though, I agree with you. I think today the shows are just crap. It's also because they've broken the narrative that had already been established. Through the previous series, that you're really walking into something altogether different. After Deep Space Nine, you don't get Star Trek anymore.
Well,
Deep Space Nine, yeah.
Voyager was still Trek. I never watched Enterprise, but after seeing what the hell they're doing now, I'm gonna give it a shot.
I like Scott Bakula. I love Quantum Leap.
I didn't as a teenager. I think I was a teenager around the time the Enterprise was coming out, and I saw Scott Bakula. I was like, he's the captain. This guy. I wouldn't follow him into space. What are you talking about? Every other captain, I was like, yup, I would follow their orders. Let's do it. Yeah, you're gonna get us out of here alive. This guy looks like he just smoked a bowl, and like a fat bowl, and he's new. He's new to smoking, so he can't handle it. Like, so that's how he looks.
Oh my God!
Send that guy into space in charge of a crew. I'm not watching this show. That's why I didn't watch it, because they lost me with Scott Bakula, and then and they didn't look great. It wasn't compelling, and like I had just gotten off of they're coming off the heels of DS9 and Voyager, and like no, it was not working for me. So I just never watched it.
And yet Enterprise now it seemed like I'll check it out now compared to the garbage they got now.
How long did it last? How long did it go?
A couple seasons.
6 seasons, I
A couple
think.
seasons, right?
Enterprise.
6?
I think out of 5, maybe.
I tuned out after 2.
Really? That long?
No, I think I'm totally wrong. Let me look. I'm just gonna look it up on.
Yeah, we'll look it up.
How did they? I mean,
Let me ask you this, Shmuel, as he looks it up. As far as
4 seasons.
4 seasons. Sci-fi.
I was wrong on every single guess.
Yeah, right. We all were. Well, I said 2, so that makes sense. I'm like 6. You talked about War of the Worlds being filmed in the East Side.
Yeah, it was Los Angeles. It was really funny because it was one of the first films where they made a lot of big recreations of things that looked like Los Angeles, City Hall, the 4th and 6th Street Bridge, and all kinds of things. They blow them up, so it's kind of like Independence Day.
Films since then that we don't know about, like a sci-fi films that have been filmed in Boyle Heights, downtown LA. What pops to your head?
Oh man, I'm trying to. I'm really trying to.
Because Shmuel knows it all, guys.
No. I mean, you know what was
Boyle
really
Heights.
strange was one movie that I did not expect was one of the Transformers movies that it was right here, right in the middle of my hangout with the 6th Street Bridge and the Los Angeles River and all of that. And that's been kind of cool. Is that you know, when they do sci-fi movies, they like to use the area of the bridges and the Los Angeles River, you know, because that's a very scenic view just of downtown behind it.
The one with the yellow truck was a Bumblebee?
Yeah, Bumblebee.
I think so. So a buddy of mine got to work on Bumblebee with the cinematographer team, and I love that film. I really liked that movie. They had the little teenage girl, whatever. I thought her and Bumblebee, those characters are really good. You guys check out that movie at all?
Yeah, I saw it. I was really stoned at the time, but it was good.
Sorry,
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee. I never watched it. No.
Oh man,
Good, but I just never watched it.
It's the best to me. It's like the best of all of them because it's kind of like a more quiet version of Transformers, and it's just 2 characters, you know. And and I think it's set in the 80s, so there's a lot of connection. You know, it's done really well. I dug that movie a lot. And who's the actress? Look her up. But let's just hit this list one more time, and we'll wrap it up, guys. This has been amazing. I want to say something about James Cameron. There's a through line here, guys, with James Cameron, and I'm looking at Zoe Saldana, Jessica Alba. This guy here. Let me take this off. Sorry, how do I? First time here, guys. This guy, James Cameron, has always been on the cutting edge, and I heard him. Yeah, it was really good. He always uses his set group of actors, like I told you about in all the early films of the 80s and 90s. I think when Hollywood started opening up with Robert Rodriguez, he has done a lot of work with Rodriguez. He's opened a lot of doors for Latinos. Like I said, in particular, casting Jessica Alba and with Dark Angel, and then Zoe Saldana in not only Avatar, right? But no, he didn't have nothing to do with Guardians of the Galaxy. Sorry, but in Avatar. So really, you see, and he's such a maverick. He's so independent that it's either my way or I ain't doing shit. And you really see that's how it's done, guys. when you get the right crew, you get the right actors, the right story, that's when gold happens. That's when magic happens, and not when it's this forced garbage like a Star Wars or what they're trying to do to our sci-fi. So I just want to make that point about Cameron. I think Cameron's is the shit, and I really appreciated. I've always appreciated just all the different characters he's brought to life. Let's go to
Soul Assassin and Mexican Iron Man are commenting in the chat. Most
okay.
recently, Alita with Rosa Salazar voicing Alita. So I didn't know
Correct.
that.
Yeah, Alita is a Robert Rodriguez, James Cameron production. High level, high budget, and I haven't seen that movie, and okay, I'm sorry, I know them. I'm the Latino. I will see it, and we will do a review on that. How about that?
Wait, which one?
Alita. I didn't see.
Oh,
it.
you haven't seen Alita? Yo,
No.
Alita's dope.
I know. Oh, Makini, yes, yes. Makini
Poor
90 says,
Jessica Alba. Yeah.
let's just forget Jessica Alba as Sue Storm in Fantastic Four. Let's pretend that never happened. I have no idea what you're talking about. There are no Fantastic Four movies in my book. Oh, I love it, guys. You guys are killing it. You guys are having fun in the chat, man. Being in the chats are a lot of fun with this fandom, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Edward James Olmos.
Sure.
We've only kind of very little touched on him, but it's and it's not just because I'm friends with his son Bodhi. He really is one of these people who has just played some of the most wonderful roles on screen, and especially Latino roles. He has really had the privilege of playing everyone's father. Like if it's like if you are a Latino and you want someone to tell your life story, you need to have Olmos or Lupe Ontiveros, like one of them, like playing one of your parents, in order to get on. I mean, he's always played a diversity of roles, but some of them are often not just breakout, sci-fi roles, but very touching roles as parental roles.
Well, let's go back to sci-fi, and the credit there for Blade Runner. Blade Runner is on everyone's top one or two list of great, sci-fi films. And everyone always mentions first and quotes Rutger Hauer's character, then Harrison Ford. But the co-stars in that movie were just as important. And Eddie almost concocted this really strange kind of detective with the cane, and he had his what do you call it? His trench coat and his hat. So he had this style that was like, and then they spoke that weird street language. It was an amazing character performance he did in that. So we got Soul Assassin, Stand and Deliver, Calculus. What's Calculus? Stand and Deliver is not sci-fi, but it is on Netflix right now.
But on Battlestar Galactica, he really was the star of that show. You know what I mean? He really stole the show there. He had an excellent role, and again played a diverse characters, not just a hero, but also a paternal role within that. And so again, a really diverse. It's really amazing because Edward James Olmos, his first role that he ever plays is in the stage play of Zoot Suit. He does Zoot Suit the play, at the Taper Theater, at the Mark Taper Theater, and then later on they actually cast him in the film, and so he plays the Pachuco in the film Zoot Suit, and he just breaks on from there. But he got to start with a very firme role from the beginning. From the very beginning, he was representing culture in a lot of the stories that he tells. And so, not exclusively does he deal with Latino roles, but he's done some of the best. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Again, going back to the sci-fi and Blade Runner and in Battlestar, those were not Latino roles.
Yeah. They really are.
So I mean, his diversity is
Yeah.
amazing. I'm trying to find a picture of him as El Pachuco to put it up.
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah.
iconic image. Kai, have you ever seen Zoot Suit?
No.
I'm not wearing
I mean,
my.
I have seen a zoot suit. I have, but I have not seen the zoot suit.
I can't grab it right now. Yeah, so Eddie Olmos, iconic role. He played El Pachuco in this movie called Zoot Suit, and it has a lot of music, a lot of original music, and it's
Goes on to
well done
Broadway.
regardless.
Eventually becomes the first Chicano, musical on Broadway. And
So what have we got in the chats? Because I know Kai has really been. What do we got here, guys?
I'm talking to everybody.
Yeah, you are. Mexican Iron Man, Eddie Olmos, even threw down the Chicano clap with his speech, "So we say all."
So say
was
we.
that in? So say we
Don't
all.
say
Was
we all
that
is from Battlestar.
Battlestar?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Battlestar.
He did the Chicano clap. So he like started slow, then you go fast. Okay, did not know that. What else? You guys are talking about language. I see, Kai.
We're talking
Being
about
fluent.
we're talking about how a lot of because someone said that Richie Valens wasn't fluent in Spanish, and it doesn't surprise me. Neither was Selena, and a lot of Latin Americans born here in the United States generally aren't fluent in Spanish. It's kind of a minority. You're not?
I'm not.
Okay, well, yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty normal.
And I grew up in Santa Monica, so
When I
There
was
you
growing
go.
up, my mom always wanted to make sure that we spoke Spanish, and so, but like also she was learning English, and when we were kids, when we were little, she's like, "Hey, so you guys are going to be going to school and learning English, and you come home and help me learn English, okay?" And we were like, "Okay," but what would happen is we would speak to her in English, and then we'd try to speak Spanish and like forget a word, and then she'd be like, "You're forgetting your Spanish. Stop talking to me in English." And then like she would force us to speak Spanish to her, and then later she'd be like, "Hey, what happened to helping me with my English?" And so our whole life.
We forget that, the reality is that, we forget, when it comes to Richie Valens, generation and those type of people, in those days, when you're talking about the 50s and the 60s, in most places, in public schools, you would have got beaten. You would have got corporal punishment for speaking Spanish. You were not allowed. People literally got spanked for it. It's not until 1968 that anyone even challenges that kids should not be beaten for speaking Spanish. So there's a certain reality. I look at my parents and my grandparents. Honestly, their Spanish is horrible. I speak far much better Spanish than they do, because by the time I got to school, we had bilingual education. People openly spoke. There wasn't no danger of getting abused, physically abused for speaking Spanish. So today it's a lot more. We use Spanish much more in Boyle Heights and East Los Angeles and the Barrio than we ever did, back in the old days. Because Anglo teachers were always intimidated that you might be talking about them. That was the number one paranoia.
Soul Assassin says, very little Spanish I speak, but no, I know plenty of bad English. LOL. Here is Eddie Olmos in the iconic role. It's not sci-fi, guys, but sorry, Kai, but there is the amazing.
Love it.
Looks
Love it.
That's El Pachuco, guys. That is Eddie Olmos. Look at that.
I'm gonna pretend I'm holding it up.
Yeah. There you go.
I need a new zoot suit. Are you saying I deserve a new zoot suit? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Are you sending me messages?
So, well, I think that about wraps it up, guys. We
But
could
I gotta
go
watch Batteries
deeper.
Not Included now.
Batteries
Yeah.
Not Included. We gotta watch that.
It's
we have
good.
to watch. So we gotta watch Batteries Not Included, and I have to watch Alita. It's 2 films I gotta see.
Yeah.
I think Alita is on Hulu, but I have the HBO upgrade on my Hulu, so it might be on HBO. I don't know.
Okay.
But
yeah, send us links of stuff you want us to watch, to check out. Because I'm sure there's a bunch of things that we're forgetting. But there's so many cool roles that I really think what's cool though. Just in closing, Netflix and Amazon with all of these productions, that you're getting stuff that is made not just for United States consumption, stuff that is made multilingually, made for international. They're really getting a lot more daring about the casting and of doing things not only in English. And so that's what's cool. I'm watching a lot more sci-fi in different languages. And speaking 7 languages, I like that they're doing that. So,
You speak 7 languages?
I do.
What a dick.
Oh,
I come from a
yes.
neighborhood where we used to speak, where people used to speak 63 languages, and so that I only know 7 of them makes me a little bit embarrassed. But that's really one of the things is that you can't always translate. Some things do not translate from different languages. They just mean what they do because of the way they sound with their emotion, and so that's cool.
All right, let's get some plugs out. Who's got a plug, guys? Plug yourselves.
Okay, you guys first.
I was gonna say it looks like Batteries Not Included is on Cinemax, so you need the Cinemax upgrade to watch that, and you can rent it on Amazon Prime Video.
Excellent.
Or you could find somewhere else to watch it. I'm sure,
Yeah,
but
always
it's a great
find
movie.
somewhere else.
I'd pay for it, so it's up to you. It was on Netflix for a while.
Let's plug your channel, Kai.
All right. I'm Kai. And I make fun stuff. I do a trivia board game every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific on my channel, which maybe I should provide a link for at some point. Here we go.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm a sci-fi writer, and I've got a book coming out soon. I haven't picked what's it called? I haven't picked a release date yet, but I've got my cover out, and I'm gonna be talking about that more as I figure out the publishing side of it. So yeah, join me on Sundays.
Is this the?
I'm done.
Is this the link, Kai?
Yeah.
Can I put it in the chat?
Yeah, it's what I can't put it in the chat. That's what.
Yeah,
I know it. This is all brand new to me.
No, I got you.
Shmuel, please.
We can't post links to the chat though. Only you can do that.
Okay.
Unless you give somebody moderator, then they can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe we'll see who can help us moderate next time. That'll be cool. Shmuel, go ahead and give yourself a plug.
Yeah, Shmuel Gonzalez, founder of Boyle Heights History Studios, Museum and Cultural Center. And during the summer right now, we're going to be doing some more of our virtual tours and lectures and stuff. But, we are actually still doing some physical tours and stuff like that. And, everything from upcoming, we have, this weekend, Haunted History of the Pueblo, the ghostly and ghastly Pueblo of Los Angeles. And talk about the original locations of the original cemeteries and complicated stories of some of the most tragic places that still have very haunting stories down to this day. In the upcoming weeks, we also have some really good tours such as Jewish Boyle Heights, Memories of Brooklyn Avenue. We really get into the foundation of the civil rights movement, of immigrant working class people here in this neighborhood, and we really start the foundation of a lot of the labor and civil rights movement. And of course, throughout the summer, we're going to be, of course, doing some more tours. But right now, do join us throughout this COVID-19 crisis for some of our lectures and virtual tours. You can find us at Boyle Heights History Studios and Tours on Facebook, Instagram. We're around. Check us out, guys.
All right. Before I close with all the plugs and all that do jazz and all that stuff. First, want to thank you two gentlemen. I've known Shmuel a little longer than Kai. Kai I just met, but I had a feeling, my friend, and the feeling was right. You are amazing, bro. I really appreciate you being here, man. And I know you've been live streaming all day.
It's all good, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, you were a lot of fun on the show, and I'm happy to come back anytime. This was a great conversation with you guys. It was fantastic.
Great conversation. I want to give a huge thank you to my brothers and sisters in the Menace, man. Makani 90, Ellen. We got Eric K, the great Eric K. Iron Man, Mexican Iron Man, Soul Assassin, and I believe we have Los C. Where are they? And they asked if this is going to be a weekly thing. It has been a weekly thing where I go live once a week. I try to do it Thursdays. I'm trying to get it in between a time where Phantom Menace people aren't doing too many things, but you know, we'll work that out.
So it's a little bit possible.
Yeah. So
we're stuck indoors, so let's make it happen.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you all so much. I want to thank and please do like this, and please subscribe and check out all the other videos that I'm doing, guys. It gives you a little context to where I'm coming from. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I believe that's it. I do have. Oh, this is cool, guys. It is opening day of Major League Baseball. I'm a huge baseball fan, and I'm gonna change my hat. And I just did a live poetic rendition of a baseball poem that I'd written about 4 or 5 years ago. I'll put that up on my channel as well. I like to do little renditions, recitals of stuff I've written. And those are on the Latino Slant as well. So from all of us to all of you, let's play ball. Thanks a lot, guys.
Have fun.
Good hanging out. Have a good night.